It's 12 o'clock. We're about to fill your ear holes with the sounds of Steve and Igo.
Oh, gross!
Get ready for the most in-depth discussion on everything ECU. Players, coaches, the program, and more. This is Hoist the Colors with Steve and Igo.
Play ball!
You ready? This is 94.3 The Game. This is where the Pirates play.
Welcome in, Hoist the Colors on a Thursday. It is the May 8th edition of the program. We're live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. If you got a question, a comment, concern over the next hour, we will get to it on the program. So looking forward to what we're talking about today. We're going to dive into Team Boneyard. A lot going on that front with revenue sharing, a lot of questions. We had Ryan Robinson in studio on Wednesday. You can check that out in podcast form on Spotify and Apple Podcast, as well as through the IBX Media app if you missed any of it. Today, we've got Hank Hinton from IBX Media and also part of the Team Boneyard crew back in studio. Hank, it's been a while since we've talked to you on the show. Welcome back.
Yeah, I've been avoiding you, Steven. I had to walk across the hallway here and join you today.
Trek, right?
Appreciate you having me.
Absolutely, man. Thrilled to have you in. We also have filling in today, producing, Dominic Kasolke, because Philip is back supporting his sister's graduation. Dom, how's it going, man?
It's going great. Yeah, graduation coming right up, but could be better. Knowing I know you're about to bring it up. I'm repping the squad. It's hard to see it here, but I will always live and die by the Celtics, and it's going to happen. Everyone will see what happens.
The Boston Celtics are down 0-2 after 2 home games. To be honest, man, just choking away 2 leads that they really dominated both games. So, yeah, we'll talk Team Boneyard here in a second with Hank, but what is your level of confidence with the Celtics down 0-2 going to the Garden, Madison Square Garden, going forward?
Celtics on the season 33-8 on the road. They played better on the road. I don't know why. I couldn't tell you. TD Garden has a great crowd, a great home crowd in Boston. But 33-8 on the road, they love to be resilient throughout the season. They never lose back-to-backs, so it was hard to watch them lose back-to-back. I think that was the first or second time all season they did. So I can't see them losing 3 in a row, and we were talking about it before the show. You win Game 3, you put the pressure back on the Knicks because you lose that Game 4 in New York in the other Garden. Then the pressure goes back on the Knicks even more because you bring it back to TD Garden. So I think just winning Game 3 puts a lot of pressure on the Knicks because you don't want to choke that 2-0 series lead that easily could be a Celtics 2-0 series lead because, like you said, 2 20-point game chokes in the fourth quarter. You can't make shots. But my confidence level is still, I'd say, 88% Celtics are going to win it. I actually already bet one of my friends that the Celtics are going to come back $20 on it, and he took that in a heartbeat.
Dom, riding with the Celtics. Also, congratulations on your impending graduation from East Carolina University, man. You'll walk tomorrow, is that right?
Yeah, walking.
Ceremony. Yep.
Yeah, ceremony, and then I also walk for communications tomorrow at 1 o'clock. So it's back to back. Luckily, I got lucky. It's 10 a.m. and then 1 o'clock. So I got the back to back schedule. I don't have to stay in my cap and gown all day long.
Go ahead and knock it out. Well, congrats, man. And
Congrats, Dommy.
Yeah.
Thank you.
One of 94.3 The Game's finest, Dominic Kasolke. He'll be walking across the stage on Friday. All right, Hank Hinton in studio. And I guess a lot going on with Team Boneyard, though maybe not as much as in the past. We've had a lot of questions, Hank. We could go a lot of directions here. I will say, by the way, if you got a question for Hank, concerning Team Boneyard, NIL, revenue sharing, we'll do our best to address it. Drop it in the chat over the course of the next hour. So, broad scope view, Hank, how are things maybe different now compared to this time last year with revenue sharing coming up, or is it still kind of in flux a little bit?
Well, the biggest change for this past few months is we've had a general manager for the football team, so we don't have to meet with players and go over to campus and give them a contract and talk to them about it and get them to sign it and that sort of thing. The first GM, Noah Joseph, he transitioned everything over to DocuSign because that's how they did it at Purdue. And our current GM, who's hopefully going to be with us for a long time, Luke Mullett, he's a really good guy. He is also using DocuSign. So that's made it easier for me because he meets with the players and negotiates contracts with the players, determines the value based on the budget or the cap, if you will, and kind of determines how much we're going to pay. We're probably paying about 60 players now, or close to it. Somewhere between 55 and 60, if not 60, I think is where we're at right now. Maybe even 60 plus. I haven't looked at it this morning, but I've been fast and furious docu-signing these contracts because they were really frugal with the money. We probably gave out 30 contracts in January, and that was it. And then we have added to that in April, and pretty much all 30 of the guys that got a contract in January were given another contract in April as a retention bonus and as a 8-month contract moving forward, May through December. So there has been a lot of contracts going on the last 30 days, so it's been busy with that. And then you add to it that the basketball portal was open, and we gave some basketball retention bonuses in April. So April was a busy month in terms of us paying athletes. The checking account numbers of deposits and debits and credits didn't look too hot. I mean, we paid way more in April that came in, probably 4 times as much. So the account is dwindling. It was pretty cool to see 7 figures in our bank account for a while, and we're no longer there because we've paid it out, and it just continues to go down and down. But that's by design. I mean, we're not collecting much money anymore. I don't want to tell the audience, because I know that I'm talking to a lot of you that are subscribers to Team Boneyard. I don't want to tell you to cancel your subscription yet, and you may not ever want to cancel it, but the Purple and Gold Fund, as Ryan told you yesterday, I listened to most of that. The Purple and Gold Fund is taking over the payroll, and I'm not sure if people call it the payroll, but that is essentially what it is. There might be a better word for it, but the monthly payments to players with the contracts are going to be our contracts with the football teams are going to be assumed by the university, and the settlement is supposed to come down, and the universities will start paying athletes July 1, but we're preparing that they may not be ready here in July. And I tell you, we have a sophisticated system where we don't have to write checks. I mean, we're using the bank. Dogwood State Bank is who we're using here in Greenville. We're using the bank software, and I'm sure all the other banks in town have similar software, but we can set everything up and hit one button and pay 100 athletes, and that's what we're doing now. But you got to make sure everything's right, and you got to enter in all of that. So I'm not sure who in the department is going to do all that. Kelly Slate has been our person, and fortunately, we found someone who we pay a little bit to, but not enough for all the work that she does. I mean, she has to do something, whether it's an hour or 3 hours, pretty much every day on a weekday basis. She has to work harder than anybody on our side of it externally. So a huge thank you to her, and that's Matt Slate's wife, who used to be a volunteer on our board and is now had to step off the board because he's actually a professor in the business school. But paying 100 athletes a month and then changing the amounts for a lot of them, like we've had to do a lot this year, because we've had some kids that have been paid X amount, and then we've had to change it for the next month for them to get a bonus, and then the next month they get a different amount. We've done a lot of contracts this year. It's all coming to an end, I believe. This is the end of it. It's been almost a 3-year. It'll end up being a 3-year situation, and what the future holds is we're going to keep it open and see if we are relevant at all after rev share starts. I'm being told by John Gilbert and Ryan and all the guys over there that there will probably be a need for Team Boneyard to supplement rev share payments. For example, if we have a football player like blow up and we're only paying him $50,000 a year, and he's worth way more than that in the portal, we can find NIL deals to, it has to be legit and audited through Deloitte, but it's a way for us to get him more money than what he's getting under his contract through the rev share. And things like that will happen. It just won't be very often.
For example, let's say ECU under, this would be an awesome scenario, but let's say they start the season 4-0 and they beat BYU and some players having a heck of a season, then, that player's going to be worth a lot more money than what his rev share contract says. So that could be a scenario where Team Boneyard, hey, let's go to a local business, Bill Clark Holmes, and set up an NIL deal that way.
Right. And if we have money left in the account, which that is the plan, to have a little bit of money, and I'm not sure how much we're going to keep. We're going to talk about it with, the department to see how much we want to keep and how much we want to give to the Purple and Gold Society, because if we have a lot left over, they're going to need most of that money to cover these contracts that they're assuming. So we'll just send it over there and it'll be gone, and it can't come back once we send it over there. But if we leave some money in the account, that's the rainy day scenario where, and if people continue to give to it, you're giving to a real NIL deal as it was intended to be when we started in 2022, which none of us could have imagined that we'd end up with over $1 million in our bank account,
Just as the payroll,
and 100 people on the payroll. That was not what this thing was intended to be, and we just had to follow everyone else. I mean, everyone else, the Power Force started this, and we had to do what we could to survive.
It's almost like now, to maybe put it in simple terms, I don't know, but the payroll is going in-house to the universities, and the NIL deal, maybe more for what it was intended to be, is now going to be done through you guys. It's kind of how I see it. Like it says here in the recent From the Helm, beginning in July, it is expected NIL deals over $600 with third-party entities will undergo an independent fair market value assessment. NIL deals exceeding fair market value will not be permissible. Another reason why structure, oversight, and collaboration will be of utmost importance. This is from John Gilbert recently. So sounds like it'll be, in theory, should be a little bit more regulated from you guys' perspective. Whereas like in-house, if they want to pay Caton Hauser whatever X amount of dollars, they can do that from a payroll standpoint.
Yeah, what I see is a limited number of deals every year, and it's for like the top of the top, because all these other players and athletes on the football team, on the basketball team, on the baseball team, on the women's basketball team, they're already getting paid rev share, which is the new NIL.
Yeah.
So NIL will be for, your best player on the football team. If you need to do something over and above what he's already getting, you may end up getting an NIL deal for him or creating one for him so he can get some more money so we can keep him satisfied and liking living here in Greenville.
All right, let's get a break in. We'll come back. We asked Ryan Robinson yesterday about the Purple and Gold Society versus Team Boneyard. We can talk more about that and maybe what people should do in that scenario going forward. We'll also discuss how crazy it's been with multiple transfer portal opportunities, especially in college football, how that has affected the contract negotiation process. So we'll be right back. This is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday.
The team of Flatlands Jessup is working overtime to help ensure that Eastern North Carolinians like you get the health insurance help you need this open enrollment period. New legislation passed meaning more people than ever qualify for affordable coverage. Let us help you today.
Are you ready to tackle those yard and garden projects? Come by East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, your local Coyote dealer, and check out their great selection of residential and commercial Coyote tractors. From zero-turn mowers to compact tractors to skid steer loaders, they've got you covered. Some with 0% financing for qualified buyers. Stop by your hometown Coyote dealer, East Carolina Tractor and Fleet, across from the Pitt County Fairgrounds, or online at ectfleet.com. East Carolina Tractor and Fleet. We dig dirt.
Big tax credits are back. Get a 30% tax credit, up to $2,000 off your new Mitsubishi electric heat pump install. Let Comfort Master help you take advantage of the tax credits with a qualifying Mitsubishi electric ducted heat pump or non-ducted Mitsubishi electric mini splits. Mitsubishi electric mini splits are ideal for bonus rooms, garages, or sunrooms. If you need a new HVAC unit, call Comfort Master today.
Call Comfort Master. Call Comfort Master.
At Parker's Barbecue, our family has been serving your family for 3 generations.
For that, we say thank you.
Blessing families every Thursday. Kids eat free all day. That's the Parker's way.
Legendary food served from our 3 locations. Always quick, always delicious. That's the Parker's way.
At Parker's, our mission is to impact our customers through Christ-like service in a way that feeds them both physically and spiritually. That is the Parker's way.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Healthwise Pharmacy rounds the bases with all of your infusion, retail, compounding, and medical equipment needs. Locally owned and operated by pharmacist Marcy Parker, Healthwise has grown to be your most trusted provider for infusion services. Currently providing in-home or on-site infusions in North Carolina, South Carolina, and Virginia. Visit Healthwise Pharmacy at 615B South Memorial Drive or call 252-295-0059 to speak to a patient service representative to find the option that best suits your needs.
Tired of the 1-800 numbers advertising Medicare products? Flatlands Jessup has 6 offices all throughout Eastern North Carolina. Get face-to-face help from our local award-winning licensed team. Stop by today. Flatlands Jessup, your whole world covered.
Listen up. He's talking now.
Who is this?
Stephen Igo and Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.
All right, welcome back in. Hoist the Colors on a Thursday, May 8th edition of the show. We got Dominic Kasulke producing today, still wiping away the tears from the Celtics loss, but he says they're going to bounce back. We may circle back on that later. Also got some ECU basketball news leaking out. We'll discuss that as well. Pirates not only scheduled to play in North Carolina, another blue blood reportedly on the schedule as well. We'll discuss that later in the show. Hank Hinton in studio from IBX Media. And also with Team Boneyard, part of the committee. What do you guys call it? You, Lance, and all the guys? Do y'all call it the committee, the chair, or the foundation? I don't know.
No. We don't. We have a group.
The group. Do y'all still even meet now with
no,
these things happening?
The last few meetings have been with Blake and Luke. Okay. And so once we got everything squared away, I'm not even sure we'll have another meeting because we're paying out what's in the account.
Being phased out.
I do have some opinions about the rev share that are not and by the way, the rev share has not been approved. The settlement hadn't been approved by the judge in California.
I was just looking at that. It says Ross Dellinger says basically looks like mid-May. They just keep pushing these things back. And a lot of it has to do with the roster limits and all that.
And they went ahead and set up this Purple and Gold Society because they know that it's going to happen. I mean, they're like 99.9% sure it's going to happen.
Everybody is moving forward.
So, I've been saying, hey, what if it doesn't happen? You know, are we going to be stuck with all this money that is being promised right now? that
Everybody's
it's not coming to us. And I did get, Garrett Blackwelder happens to be a good friend of mine, so I got assurances from him that if the worst of the worst would happen, that he would switch his pledge because he's decided to give to the Purple and Gold Society, but he will switch it back to cover us if, like, worst case scenario, which will get us through the end of the year and what we've promised. But with the rev share, what they're saying, and every school can decide what they're going to do, but 75% of your whatever you decide to share goes to football. 15% goes to men's basketball, 5% goes to women's basketball, and 5% is supposed to go to other sports. I think here baseball. We will end up sharing all 5% and maybe even more than that with baseball because we just have a unique situation. But there'll be teams in our conference that won't give any of it to baseball. They'll have something else more important, or they'll just slide baseballs over to men's basketball or something. So having a great baseball program is going to have us share more there. This is my opinion. These are not. I am not in any way a part of these decisions, but I think that's what's going to happen with us. Is we'll share more with baseball, and other schools will share less with baseball, and so they will potentially have more to put into men's basketball or something like that. But there's three ways. I made some notes last night, so I'm like, I need to make sure I say this right. And these are opinions of mine. There's three ways that this hurts ECU, and it hurts everybody really. But this settlement's going to come down, and this judge is going to rule that we are going to now rev share, and the universities are going to raise money to cover this. But if you're a Pirate Club member and you're already giving, say, $5,000 a year to the Pirate Club, they're now asking you to give $5,000 a year to this, and you may not give the whole $5,000 to this. You may give this $2,000 or whatever, but you may not be able to do that in addition to the $5,000 you'd be giving to the Pirate Club. So whatever gets cut out of the Pirate Club, the regular Pirate Club donations, the regular building fund donations, and goes to this because, people have budgets. You can't just add it on.
Not everybody's going to be able to just double.
We're going to lose there. And I think what universities, including this one, are going to do is they're just going to decide what they're sharing. So let's just say, and this is just making math easy here. Let's say we just decide to share $4 million, okay? And we do the 75% to football. That's $3 million to football. That's more. That's a lot more than we've ever had for football NIL. Yeah. But let's say you have the $3 million for football, next year. Then you have what's 15% of $4 million? That's $750.
See,
750,000. So you have that for men's basketball, which is actually less than what we've had for basketball in the past, or maybe this year. So you may end up sharing more and sharing less.
600,000.
Okay, 600,000. So you may end up sharing more to basketball and not doing $3 million for football. Not sure what's going to shake out there, but you may not raise $4 million to cover all this. So you're just taking some of the TV money that you've already been spending in the department, and you're cutting department expenses in order to give it to the athlete. So that's the first. This is the first way this is a financial killer.
And they've already started to reduce.
We're probably going to share more than we raise.
Yeah.
Okay. And it might not be $4 million, it might be $3 million, but whatever it is, we'll end up sharing more than we raise of money that was already coming to the athletic department. So you're cutting other stuff, and we're already like really thin in the department. All right. The number two way that this hurts us is the judge is going to raise the number of scholarships, and I do not think that we're going to add scholarships in football. I think we'll stay at 85.
That's the impression I've gotten to, at least to begin with.
But we'll raise scholarships at least in baseball, because if we don't, we can't compete with the other schools in the state that are going to raise. And we won't go to the limit, but let's say we raise somewhere between 8 and 10 scholarships and go to 20. So you have to match those scholarships. That costs you money to give 10 more guys scholarships. So let's say you do 10, then you have to do 10 girl scholarships. 10 guys, 10 girls, because of so you're now paying for 20 more scholarships. But then the triple whammy and the worst part of the settlement that I don't even understand is the judge is going to rule to cut walk-ons, and you're talking about athletes that are here, students that are here because they're athletes, and they're paying full tuition, full room and board. They're paying the same thing you and I paid when we went to college, and they're probably only here to play that soccer, to play the volleyball, baseball, even football. They came to East Carolina for that reason, and we're getting full pay for those kids. And they're cutting that out, and so the university's not going to get that money anymore. I mean, those kids are not going to be at East Carolina in the future. They're going to go somewhere else where they can play.
And that's a lot of layers to it, but that's how it's going to be. And ECU is not the only school facing this issue, which is why John Gilbert said recently at a Board of Trustees meeting that none of this feels sustainable outside of maybe like the 3 or 4 blue blood programs that can afford these costs. So I just don't, I understand why revenue sharing is happening. The players should get paid, but this long term does not feel like a win for anybody besides the players. Like, I mean, the players have it better than anybody right now. They have more power in college as a college student athlete than professional players because they don't even have to sign multi-year contracts. It's just the whole system's backwards. So I guess we're going to try this for a few years and see where it lands, but I don't see how any of this is really sustainable. You do have the top leagues that are getting big TV contracts that help offset it to a degree, but it's like if you're in the Big Ten with Ohio State and Michigan, those schools are not going to let Purdue, Wisconsin, Northwestern spend the same amount of money as they do, so they're going to keep spending more. And you're still going to have that gap between the top of the Big Ten and the bottom of the Big Ten. So I don't know. It's a mess. And I guess we just keep going along year by year and see what happens. I mean, like, what other choice do we have? Too many people care about ECU sports for it not to continue, and there's too many people involved and too much passion. So I guess we just keep going until we figure out kind of where we land in all this.
And the good thing, I believe that we're going to raise more with the purple and gold than we were able to with Team Boneyard for a couple of reasons. And there may be more than this, but I mean, number one, it's tax deductible. We were able to find a way to partner with a charity to get ours tax deductible, but there are hoops to jump through for us to get the money over to us, and it's been a great thing, and we're continuing to do it. I mean, Parents for Public Schools is still holding a decent amount of money in their account, and we're continuing to send athletes into the public schools here in Pitt County so we can send them invoices for work rendered, and we're gonna continue to do that through the end of the year and maybe even beyond. It's a good way to do an NIL deal. I mean, it makes it legit, and it gives the athlete a purpose, something to do for the money, and it actually, the kids probably love it to have them come and read to them and that sort of thing. But the second way is, I mean, just having the Pirate Club staff meeting with folks, and they work inside the athletic department, and they already know where all the bodies are buried when it comes to our donors, and it makes it more legitimate that this is not going away. And the folks that have not been willing to give to us, some of them have given now, and it legitimizes paying players even more. The department's going to do it, and I think that's helped us raise more money. But I do think no matter how much we raise, I think we'll probably end up spending more because we're going to have to compete.
And I think almost, you look across college athletics already, there's only a handful of schools that actually make more money than they spend on a yearly basis. That's only going to get worse with this revenue sharing happening. So it is a crazy, crazy time. I did want to, before we take another break, so the Purple and Gold Society, Ryan Robinson said that's kind of where you want to give. What would you suggest to folks who are already given to Team Boneyard? Keep that money coming in if you can, but also, obviously, maybe it's more of a luxury at this time versus giving to the Purple and Gold Society. Where would you advise people in that scenario?
I would say just, to try to do nothing right now until this thing gets settled.
Official, yeah.
Yeah, until we're official, we still need your money, and your money is either going to be spent on one of the top athletes later on after everything stops, and it's going to be to retain and keep happy one of our better players in one of the major sports. Maybe baseball, but most likely football and men's basketball. If you continue to give, that $10, that $25 a month, I mean, that is what it will be used for in the future. But if you want to cancel that and go start giving to the Excellence Fund or Purple and Gold right now, I mean, that would be fine because that's where the payroll is going to move to. But as of right now, we're still responsible for the payroll for this month, which we usually pay everybody we've got a couple of cases where we pay on the 1st, but we usually pay everybody in the middle of the month. And we've got May, we've got June, and most likely we're going to end up covering our contracts for July as well because they may not be set up in time to do it. But I think by August, all of our contracts will be assigned to the department, and they'll take them over, and then they'll probably ask us to write them a check. So either way, if you're giving money to Team Boneyard right now and you just let it ride until you know more, like that's what I would suggest. But we're gonna give all the money to the new fund or hold it if they want us to.
All right, let's get another break in. We'll come back. We'll continue on this discussion. We got a question about Nick Saban and Donald Trump getting together for a new NIL policy, so we'll discuss that as well and what that could mean down the road. And also touch on some ECU basketball scheduling news. Pirates, apparently, according to one report, going to a MTE with Michigan State and St. Bonaventure, so we'll discuss that as well. Along with North Carolina on the schedule. They'll be at that tournament as well. So we'll touch on that to close the show here in a little bit more with Team Boneyard, revenue share on the way, what that all means. Hank Hidden in the studio. This is Hoist the Colors on a Thursday.
Hey, it's Jim Wells again with Wells Roofing and Gutters here in the beautiful community of Lindale, Bedford. At Wells Roofing and Gutters, we believe in quality first. And that's why we use CertainTeed shingles, which are manufactured in Oxford, North Carolina, a local company. In the event you ever do have a claim or a problem with your roof system, they're local and they come and take care of us in a timely manner. We could leave off some accessories and we could certainly save money, but we believe at Wells Roofing and Gutters in installing the correct way per manufacturer requirements, and we warranty your roof both in-house and also with our supplier, who is CertainTeed. For a job Wells done, no shortcuts taken, and a good quality job on your home, give us a call today, 252-227-8403. We also offer financing, 12 months, no interest, no payments.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human. About creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
You have a choice when you invest in insurance, and when you choose First State Insurance Advisors, you're working with people you can trust. Clark Stallings has deep ties in the community. His team, including Keaton Smith, Regina Asby, Phil Leyva, Max Joyner Jr., Max Joyner III, and Ginger Smith, provides knowledgeable and professional advice. First State Insurance Advisors is an independent insurance agency. They offer all types of personal insurance as well as various types for business. Call or email First State Insurance Advisors today. We want to be your trusted choice agency.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cooked to order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
Back to Hoist the Colors with Stephen Igo.
Let's get this party started
on 94.3 The Game.
All right,
You're on, big guy.
Welcome back in, Hoist the Colors.
Who made those? Those are great.
Still getting used to them.
Come on, big guy.
Come on, big guy. I have to get big guy Matt Maloney to cut us a promo as well. Hank Hinton in studio, Dom Kasolki producing today. The comment section, Robert says this is a total cluster. Speaking of NCAA, revenue share, and all this. Graham Teal's got a question I did want to address. Lane Smith, he says, first off, he says over under UTSA 33 runs scored. That's a lot of runs. That would be 11 per game, Lane. I'll take the under, but they're pretty good. What about you, Hank? What do you think? Over under UTSA.
Over under 33. I'm taking the under.
Yeah. If ECU gives up 33 runs, it's not going to be good. What about you, Dom?
The under seems free, but you never know.
Yeah.
33, that's a lot.
ECU did give up, 20 runs in a game to Tulane recently, so it would take one of those. Lane also says, I've noticed other schools, even Group of Five, do school-sponsored baseball press conferences. Why don't we do that? I'm not 100% sure what you're asking, Lane. I'm guessing you mean like the backdrop.
School-sponsored press conferences.
Yeah, I mean, so when ECU does a football press conference, we have the Pepsi and ECU logo, and there's like a backdrop, kind of like this backdrop if you're watching our feed. Baseball, we just do it right on the field. I don't think it's how we've always done it. I guess they just don't want to get that backdrop. Either way, I don't think it's really making ECU much money, so I don't think it makes a difference. I would like to do a more structured baseball press conference because we get so much noise. It's hard to hear Cliff Godwin half the time, but let us know, Lane, if that's what you mean. He also says, do we think other schools in the American will fail in doing this revenue share? So he wants to know, can the other schools keep up with this too? Didn't the American impose basically you have to share a certain amount or else you face a
there's a
penalty?
There's a minimum.
Yeah.
I think our commissioner has come out and said that we're going to be at a minimum if you want to.
And it's over like a 3-year span.
Right.
You just got to meet that
there was a
minimum.
multi-year minimum.
I
think the schools like Charlotte and UAB, those guys are going to be between the middle and the bottom, maybe the bottom. I don't know about Charlotte, but the schools like Memphis and Tulane and UTSA are going to be at the top.
Florida.
And South Florida, we'll probably, we're going to be right in there where we always are with these schools.
Kind of
like we're right behind them, and we'll be ahead of everybody else.
I'm always curious, what do schools like Rice and Tulsa, because they're private schools, you would think they would have money, but we don't really know because they don't report what they're doing. So where do they come in?
Those are the wild cards because Duke apparently has all this money and nothing is reported. But then you see that they got the Tulane quarterback, and they reportedly paying him $8 million over 2 years, or $4 million a year or $4 million over 2 years. I can't remember what it was, but like that's insane money, and the guy was great. I mean, he was a starter at Tulane, but is he really
good.
worth $8 million?
He was not that good.
But Duke has an insane amount of money for the basketball program, so I guess they've tapped into it for football as well. And I've heard that Tulsa has a lot of money, but they don't look like they don't play like it.
It's not shown on the field.
No.
And after their previous coaching staff was fired, they did have some players say we were promised money, we're not paid money. Yeah, the former coach saying we never promised any money, so it sounds like a bit of a mess there.
I heard that they had millions of dollars for football, but most of what you hear is not true.
Yeah, I don't know what they're spending it on, if so. All right, Graham says, what do we know this early, if anything, with President Trump's appointment of Nick Saban in reference to NIL policy changes? So we don't really know anything other than Saban and somebody else, I can't remember the other person, is going to basically collaborate on this deep dive into NIL. Now, do you have any take on this? It's kind of hard to say.
Now that the president is making comments about NIL and rev share, like it's another thing that's kind of scary that this settlement may not even go through.
Right.
I mean, I told you about like the triple whammy for ECU, but like it's all being done because we're gonna put money into a fund just like everybody else, and ours is what, $700,000? Is that what you've heard?
Yes.
$700,000 a year
for
former players.
They got to pay it out over 10 years or something.
And I don't
like
even know. I know some of the former players that would have gotten a lot of NIL money if they lived in this era. I mean, do they receive that? I guess if they put their name in the lawsuit.
I guess so, yeah.
The class action. But, yeah, I mean, just think about if we had David Garrard here this past year even his freshman year. He started like 7 games his freshman year. Like, it would be impossible to keep that guy, especially after his sophomore year when he started all the games. So, you don't want to start rooting for players to like be average to above average and not great.
I know.
But if our quarterback is great this year and he goes like 10-2 or even 8-4, and he looks, I mean, he's going to be worth so much money on the market. You know, he'll be just like the Tulane quarterback from last year that got paid $8 million. I mean, we can't do anything about that.
It's it's a miracle in many ways. ECU was able to keep R.J. Felton, the all-conference player who came back. A lot of it, you have to get a hometown discount if it's going to happen. Like a guy who's willing to take one, because if R.J. would have gone on the market, he could have got $300,000-$400,000. You know, he got a good. It's not like y'all didn't pay him, but he had to take probably less here than he would have gotten.
Revel was the first miracle. That we've had, but you were at the time. It was probably he was passing up $200,000 to go be a cornerback at Arkansas or wherever he would have gone. R.J. Felton would have been worth more than that on the market, so that was probably the biggest miracle we've had so far. But every year the money has gotten dumber. Like it's gotten more ridiculous every year. And Revel, I think, was in that. Was he in the position to leave like 2 years ago? 2 off seasons ago, or was it last off season?
It was
last off season. Yeah, it was last off season. So, but the money has gotten crazy since then. I mean, it's like quadrupled since that time, and so he might have gotten $1 million to leave.
It's insane.
And then if you're Siobhan or Savone, what are we calling him today? And your agent tells you got to go because this is $1 million. I mean, if it was me, I would go.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't. It's $1 million freaking dollars.
I mean,
and to stay here for $50,000 or something.
He's getting his money through the NFL now, but unfortunately, the injury probably cost him $1 million with his at least with his potential first round pick. But obviously, shows you can still stay and get drafted, but you do have to be kind of a rare breed that honestly is not around. But even Caden Hauser, I think it's fair to say he could have gone elsewhere this offseason and gotten more. But he chose to stay because he knows he's the guy here. So,
well, and we pulled out all the stops with Felton. I mean, we recruited his brother. He didn't want to leave. It was just a great situation that he was the type of kid that it wasn't all about the money. Now, did he like the money? Yeah. And giving a basketball player here a six-figure contract was just I was blown away by it. But we did it like 3 times last year, and it was amazing. But man, like you couldn't have nailed that any more than they did and now almost to the same degree. I mean, Jordan Riley would have been worth a lot more if he would have left. And Coach Schwartz was able to keep him. So, like, he's done this 2 years in a row with a guy who could make a lot more in the portal than he would staying here, and the kid wanted to stay here. And you're talking about a kid that's already transferred twice, and, maybe we should give ECU campus and Greenville a lot of credit for him staying, because he's been at Georgetown and at Temple, and this is probably a lot better place to be. So he must like it here a lot better than he did there.
That is a fair point to think about. 2 traditional basketball schools, and yet he stays at ECU where he had his best season, but also he feels most comfortable here. All right, let's get our final break in. We'll come back. We will wrap up the show after this with Hank Hinton, Dom Kasolke, and more with Hoist the Colors on a Thursday.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Make every day electric on the Kawasaki Electro 20 electric balance bike. Maximize the fun with long run times, impressive top speed, and Kawasaki build quality. Easy adjustability and smooth handling make everyday riding more enjoyable. And the standard MTB type tires provide off-pavement capability. The Kawasaki Electro 20 is the electric balance bike that's built to rip. Go to Ron Ayers Motorsports, Memorial Drive north of the airport, Greenville.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color and let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
If you are interested in living longer and living stronger, Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine is accepting new patients for a limited time. Finding a caring physician can be a challenge. Dr. Billy Smith is board certified in physical medicine and lifestyle medicine and has been practicing in the area for many years. Call for an appointment now to Eastern Physical and Lifestyle Medicine, 252-364-1108 in Greenville. That number again is 252-364-1108.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Hoist the Johnny Roger!
Now, back to Hoist the Colors.
All right, welcome back in. Final segment here, Hoist the Colors on a Thursday, May 8th edition of the show. We got Hank Hinton in studio from IBX Media, also on Team Boneyard, and we've talked a lot about that. We'll close with that here in a second. Dom Kasolke producing today. He will graduate officially tomorrow, walk across the stage. I did want to point out, Graham Till had the question about President Trump and Nick Saban and their presidential commission studying college sports. So Nick Saban is the co-chair along with Texas Tech NIL Collective founder Cody Campbell, who sold his oil and natural gas company Double Eagle for $4.1 billion. He will be the co-commissioner with Nick Saban. So interesting, you have a former coach and a NIL Collective founder who is very wealthy. And there's a reason why Texas Tech is really good, and that's why.
Well, hopefully they'll put some maximums, a cap on what schools can do, because it'll really ruin even the SEC.
Exactly.
I mean, it'll make it so lopsided in the SEC, and it none of this. I don't think any of this is good for the East Carolinas of the world.
No,
I mean,
it's really only good for a handful of schools. I mean,
we're going to be a feeder system.
Yeah. Some basketball news again. So this is from D1 Docket. Not 100% official yet, but they typically get the contracts for these events. And East Carolina, according to D1 Docket, is scheduled to be the fourth team in the Fort Myers tip-off Thanksgiving week. And this features Michigan State, North Carolina, St. Bonaventure, and East Carolina as it stands now. So ECU would play Michigan State on November 25th and St. Bonaventure on November 27th. In that same Fort Myers tip-off, you would also have Michigan State playing North Carolina and Michigan State playing St. Bonaventure. So, and then ECU would play North Carolina later on, so not at the Fort Myers tip-off.
Right.
So pretty.
Do you see North Carolina in that, or is that
so
just?
This is just the ECU schedule that I'm looking at.
Yeah, so we play in Chapel Hill on the 22nd
That is
of
22nd.
December.
But North Carolina.
But they're supposed to be in this tournament.
Yes, North Carolina.
But we're not playing them then.
Correct. So North Carolina and Michigan State were the first two teams announced in the Fort Myers tip-off. See if I can get the dates on that. So basically,
that's a huge
pretty big deal
get for us.
Yeah, Michigan State, North Carolina, November 25th and 27th. They will play each other. UNC will also play St. Bonaventure. So what will happen is in this specific tournament, ECU will play Michigan State, St. Bonaventure, and then play North Carolina later on December 22nd. So basically, ECU would play two of the biggest blue bloods in college basketball, North Carolina and Michigan State. Kind of a big deal.
That's pretty awesome.
Dom, any thoughts on this as a student? Look, we hear all the time that ECU's basketball schedule is not good enough, doesn't interest enough fans. Well, if you're playing Michigan State, North Carolina, I would hope that would maybe open some eyes.
Yeah, this is massive. I mean, that can put us on the map for, incoming players later on if we can showcase, who we really are. And it's a big upgrade. No offense to the boardwalk battle last year, but it's definitely a big upgrade.
I forgot about that.
Well,
yeah.
And it sounds like with your interview with Ryan yesterday, like we're taking the buy game budget and giving it to rev share.
Yeah.
So we cannot financially afford to keep paying these teams to come to Minges. So we're going to have fewer home games. We're going to do more home and homes if we can find the schools to do that. And it sounds like we're having trouble with some of the in-state schools to do home and homes. I guess we've always done a home and home with UNC Wilmington, but I'm pretty pleased that we were able to get into that holiday tournament.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and hopefully, I would assume those games will be on national TV somewhere. We know Michigan State and North Carolina will be, and St. Bonaventure is a really good basketball school as well. So the realistic side of this is you're going to be an underdog. I'm looking at non-conference schedule for next year. Michigan State, underdog. St. Bonaventure, probably an underdog. At North Carolina, decided an underdog. At UNC Wilmington, underdog. So there is a balance to this. You don't just want to go out and schedule 13 non-conference games like this, but if you could get half your non-conference looking similar to this and the other half being more reasonable home and homes or winnable games, your net is going to be a lot better. If let's say your record may not be as good as last year, but if you somehow win some of these games and you get 16, 17, 18 wins, you're going to be a top 125, top 100 team. So you had 19 wins last year and your net was down, which I know you've had quite a lot of arguments on Hoist the Colors about this.
About net?
About net rankings, man. That's what.
Hey, man, I don't even know how they come up with a net, but I understand it. I understand where our net has been over the years and where it was last year. So I get it.
So I'm a fan of the improved schedule. It is just there is a balance you've got to strike, and the reality is too that the conference is not as strong as it used to be. If you still had Cincinnati, UCF, Houston, then I think those make your schedule a lot harder. But now with those schools out, I'm fine bulking up the non-conference schedule a little bit. So we'll see. And I've heard rumors, maybe we see a High Point home and home. They were in the tournament this past year. Some local schools. It sounded like Ryan was saying a lot of schools don't want to play ECU at home. I guess they just want the buy money.
They want us to pay them to come here, and that's it.
It's crazy. So. It's a crazy world out there right now. Well, Hank.
And we're going to have to do a little bit of that, but probably half of what we've been doing is what I think.
All right. Well, we got about 30 seconds left, Hank. Any final message on Team Boneyard, this revenue share, as we wrap up?
We just want to thank everybody for volunteering. You know who you are. I want to thank all the supporters we've had over the last 3 years. Never could have done it without you, and I'm sure the players are more thankful than I am. And I'm thankful that this is actually kind of coming to an end.
It's been a lot, and I've said it before about ECU being a tough spot without you guys. So appreciate the time and all the hard work Team Boneyard has done, and they'll continue on, but definitely revenue share taking a center stage once this thing goes final. Appreciate Dom. Thanks to Hank for the time. We'll be back Friday at 12 noon. See you then.
This has been Hoist the Colors with your host, Stephen Igo. Tune in weekdays at noon for all things ECU sports. Get a recap of the show at 943thegame.com, on Twitter, Facebook, or anywhere you get your podcasts. We're back tomorrow with more of Hoist the Colors on 94.3 The Game.